These are the 7 habits that changed my life in 7 minutes. These habits are from the book that my dear grandfather has advised me to read since I have memory, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The book tries to make you move from one end of the spectrum, dependence, to the other side of the spectrum, interdependence, which is the best state to be at a professional and personal life. We will see how to get from one end to the other by adopting new ways of thinking, new paradigms, new maps that in this case will be the 7 habits. So let's begin and let's start the timer. Habit number 1, be proactive. There are 2 circles in life. We have the circle of influence and the circle of concern. In order to be proactive, to do things that you have a direct control of, you need to think about all the things that are in the circle of influence, things that you can truly do something about, like making your bed. But you need to stop worrying about things in the circle of concern. You cannot do anything directly about the economy or anything that is not related with you. This habit will be very important when we talk about the second habit. Begin with that end of mind. When you are proactive and you know things that are in your circle of influence, you need to create a goal in mind twice. Like an architect, you need to have a mental creation with that end in mind. So you can have more chances of doing the real creation. It's more effective for him to make a model at the beginning and then make it according to the model. In order to begin with that end of mind, you have to have a firm foundation. And that firm foundation is a personal constitution. In order to have these mental creations, you need a personal constitution that is simply a set of principles based on your most important values that will guide you through these 7 habits. In my case, it's time, family, excellence, adventure, and life. And this will bring us to the third habit, first things first. So in order to get to that mental creation that we have talked about in the last habit, we need to get rid of all the things that are not important. So you are only left with important urgent things and important not urgent things. The book says that you have to focus on the important not urgent things. Why? Because in the long term there will be less important urgent things as you take care of them before they become urgent, and also because of the balance between production and capacity of production. That is, you need to take care of not only producing, doing something, but also the capacity of production, your own self, your own mental health, physical health. So you take care of things that are important, your family, your friends, your relationships, but they are not urgent. So you need to balance these 2 things. We have arrived at the middle of the spectrum. Right now, we are in the independence level, but independence is not enough. In this interconnected world, you need interdependence when you get the best out of a group of people that you work with. So the 4th habit, think about win-win. So this is the first habit of interdependence because we're talking about a public victory, not a private victory anymore. Public victory, both people have to win. There are different paradigms of interaction. We have win-win, win-lose, lose-win, lose-lose, I win and that's it. And the best one is win-win or no deal. So you have to force yourself to arrive at a situation where both ends win or there is no deal. So you force your mind to think actively about a win-win situation. How do we arrive to this win-win situation? We have different dimensions of win-win. First, we have the character. You need to have a mental maturity to lay out what you want and also be respectful of what other people want. And you also need to have an abundance mentality. There's enough out there in the world to arrive at a win-win situation. It's like an emotional bank account where you have to make deposits, invest in these emotional bank accounts, so it's more probable for both of you to arrive at a win-win situation and get some withdrawals in the long term. Then you need proper accords, systems, and processes to arrive at a win-win situation. So how do we achieve that? First, you need to think about different points of view. Then you need to identify the key aspects that we're talking about in the negotiation. Then you need to identify what's the desirable result, the desirable win-win situation that you want. And finally, what alternatives do we have to achieve that situation? So then we can talk about the 5th habit, which is for most people the hardest one. Seek to understand before being understood. It's the hardest one because we are usually taught to make ourselves heard instead of listening to the people first in order to understand them. Hearing and listening is not the same thing. Listening is actively and empathetically taking into consideration the feelings and emotions of the people. How do we achieve that? We have the empathetic communication. It's a simple principle. So simply is paraphrasing the content that they are giving and reflecting the underlying emotion. For example, instead of saying, I think you are feeling bad because of the game, you are like, son, tell me, how do you feel? And he will say, I don't know, I don't feel like talking right now. You'll be like, you don't feel like talking today because you are probably sad? And he will open himself most of the times. And if they don't, then repeat. Imitate the content that he will give you and reflect on emotion. We can get to number 6. Synergize. Synergize is based on the principle of 1 + 1 = 3. The sum of the efforts is greater than the single efforts by themselves. This is usually true in business, family, or any interdependent relationship. So you need to value collaboration and different opinions of people, especially when they are pretty far away from your own point of view, because you will arrive at better and more effective ways of handling things. And last but not least, the last habit, sharpen the saw. You have 6 habits that have taken you from dependence to independent and now interdependence. You have to sharpen the saw. This means you have to renovate yourself, the capacity of production to implement these habits like an upward spiral. So how do you sharpen this saw? You have 4 aspects of life. You have physical, you have the spiritual, you have mental, and you have social and emotional aspects. Physical, try doing exercise at least 10 minutes a day. Mental, read books, meditate, do things that are related with the brain. Spiritual, you can profess the religion that you want, you can meditate, you can think, ask questions. And finally, social and emotional. Don't forget to go out with your friends, have a little time off. It's not always about being as productive and efficient as always, but as effective. That's the most important thing, getting things done. And what I like about this book is that it is based on principles, not techniques. So the results will be seen in the long term and they will be consistent throughout your life because habits take time and work. And that's why these 7 habits have changed my life. And time's up. I think we have managed to do it under 7 minutes. I hope you found this video useful and interesting. I would like to give a special thanks to my grandfather for always giving me great advices, especially this book recommendation. I love you very much, Grandpa. If you would like to see more videos related to business, finance, and books, click here to see my latest video. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and comment what other books would you like me to make a summary of. And if you made it to the end of the video, consider subscribing to the channel. See you all on the next one. Ciao, ciao.